This video is on rates and unit rates. Make sure that you have your notes worksheet. As we go through the video, you will need to fill out your notes. Pause the video when needed so that you can get your notes completely filled out. Okay, what exactly is a rate? A rate is a comparison by division of two quantities with different attributes. In our example here, we have a rate of 15 characters in 5 seconds. Okay, with a ratio, the attributes were the same. When we were talking about the dogs and the cats, they were all animals. Here, characters and seconds are not the same. They're different attributes. And then a unit rate is a rate that, when simplified, it has a denominator of 1. So a unit rate is when we want to know how many characters for 1 second. And here are some examples of rates. Example would be $12 for 3 pounds of fruit, typing 120 words in 2 minutes, driving along at 60 miles in 3 hours, or working and earning $7.50 per hour. There's a per hour, per one. This would be the unit rate. So let's talk more about unit rates. Okay, to find the unit rate, when the rate is in fraction form, all we do is simplify it to a denominator of 1. And simplifying means to divide it. Some of the key words that help you determine if you're talking about a rate type of situation would be in, out of, for every, each, and per, like Rady the Math Cat. Okay, some hints when finding the unit rate. You always want to write the rates in fraction form. And when you write your rate, if it involves time, like how many per hour, how many per second, anything having to do with time, the time unit will most always be in the denominator. And if you have a rate involving money, the dollar unit is usually always the numerator. So let's go back and talk about Rady the Math Cat video. Okay, our first rate was $6 for 2 pounds of fish. When you write the rate, make sure you include the labels. $6, money, that's going to go in the numerator, and 2 pounds of fish. Then to find the unit rate, we want to change this denominator to a 1. We want to know what is the cost for 1 pound of fish. So to go from 2 to 1, you just divide by this denominator. You divide by 2. Then you have to do the same thing to the numerator, and you're going to divide it by 2 as well. So the cost, or the unit rate, the cost per pound is going to be $3 per pound of fish. Okay, what about for $50 for 5 lawns mowed? Okay, first we're going to write the rate. We're talking money, so that needs to go in the numerator. So here's the $50. The dollar sign represents the label, because you have to include the labels. So we're talking money, the dollar sign represents that it's money. And then it's going to be 5 lawns mowed. So I'm just going to put 5 lawns. So this is my rate. Now to find my unit rate, I want to go from 5 lawns to 1 lawn. And to do that, I just divide by 5. Then I have to do the same thing to my money. $50 divided by 5 is going to give you $10. So the unit rate is $10 for 1 lawn, or $10 per lawn. Okay, 8 hours of gameplay in 4 days. Okay, there are 2 types of time here. So we're just going to write it in the order that we're given. We have 8 hours of gameplay, so I'm going to put 8 hours in 4 days. So here's our rate. To find the unit rate means that we want to go from 4 days to 1 day. How many hours of gameplay did she get in 1 day? So we divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 gives us our 1 and we have to do the same thing to our 8 hours. Divide it by 4, and she gets 2 hours of gameplay per day. Again, very important, write this down. Be sure to write your labels. So let's do some practice problems. Samantha picked 45 oranges in 5 minutes. Okay, this is your rate. 45 oranges in 5 minutes. We want to know how many oranges did she pick per minute. So we want to take our rate and we want to find the unit rate. So we write the rate first. It's going to be 45 oranges. 5 minutes, that's our time. That goes in the denominator. And to find the unit rate, we want to go from 5 minutes to 1 minute. And to do that, we just divide by 5. Then we do the same thing to the number of oranges. And 45 divided by 5 will give us 9 oranges. So our unit rate on how many oranges Samantha can pick is going to be 9 oranges per minute. The Australian dragonfly can travel 18 miles in 30 minutes. So this is our rate, 18 miles in 30 minutes. There's the time. So we know the time is going to go in the denominator. So 30 minutes. And it's 18 miles. That's the numerator. So how far can it travel in 1 minute? We want to go from 30 minutes in the denominator to 1 minute. We're trying to find the unit rate. And to do that, you would divide by 30. Do the same thing to the numerator. Now, 18 divided by 30. We're going to have a decimal number, aren't we? So we're going to have to do some long division. So the 18 goes inside the house, the 30 goes outside. I know 30 will not go into 1 or 8, so I'm going to have to add a decimal and a 0. And we have 180. 30 will go in there 6 times, and I have a 0 remainder. So this would be 6/10 miles. Our unit rate then, we would write it as 6/10 miles per minute. You will also say sometimes a backslash, like 6/10 miles with a backslash minute. That means the same thing. That means per. And now you're ready for your independent practice.